What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, thanks for coming back. So in this week's video, we're gonna continue with the 05 Plus axle swap kits that I've been developing for quite some months now, actually. And today we're gonna focus on the radius arm brackets. If you saw last week's video, we worked on the coil buckets, which turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with the way that they look. But I am going to be making a couple changes to them, and we'll talk about that later today. But like I said, today's going to be all about these, making some bolt-on radius arm brackets that will fit the OBS trucks a little bit better than these things, and will definitely look better than these. So I mean, it's a simple enough task. So this is where they're going to bolt to, and I know at least a couple of things for sure. They're gonna use these two bolts and this one, and probably these two right here. Now these two bolts are already on your frame if you have the four-wheel drive trucks. This is where your spring hangers were riveted onto, so you'll have to remove your spring hanger, remove those rivets, and install the bracket using these holes, that one, and we'll most likely have to drill a hole right around here somewhere. Now the thing that I don't remember is which of these holes were already on the frame. I feel that at least these two were already on the frame, but they're a little bit too far back. I might reuse this one because it has to be on here for my cross member. This is the cross member that I used, and it fit all right. As you can see, I had to grind a pretty good chunk of it to clear the stock radius arm brackets, which this thing was probably designed to work with their whole kit. That's why it didn't fit right there, but it would have been nice if they would have cleared this for use with these trucks, which whenever we make our own, we'll make it so that it works with either with either radius arm bracket. So now, like I said, we have to kind of match these three holes at least, and then figure out what I want to use down here. Now the other really important things are going to be basically making sure that I keep these bolts exactly where they're at, those holes. So no matter where I end up putting, the holes on this thing, these two have to end up in the same spot. So that will basically guarantee me that this bolt goes back in the same location. This one, if you don't have a lift kit, would be the one that goes right there. Now, like, I have a lift kit, and this thing came with the drop bracket. It lowered it about 3 inches, I think is what it should have been. So I'm gonna go ahead, make some sort of template for this, and basically start working on that. Another thing that I have to do is the frame on the 05 Plus trucks is wider than our OBS trucks. So when you install the radius arms on them, they basically sit crooked like this. They don't sit, like nice and straight. They sit crooked like this. So one thing that I want to do, kind of like we did with the coil buckets, I gotta space these out so that they match the axle. That way the radius arms aren't kind of tilted in like this, and they're nice and straight like they're supposed to. So that's gonna be the other thing that I have to consider and that I have to get it right, is how much I gotta kick those things out. But yeah, I'm gonna get working on all that, seeing how much I have to adjust it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, so I've actually been pretty busy this whole week, and haven't had a lot of time to really work on the design, and I really wanted to have a design that I could show you guys, but unfortunately we're not gonna have that available this week, but for sure we'll have it ready for this week. But like I said, I've been crazy busy. You guys just keep killing it with orders, keeping me really busy, which I really appreciate. I actually have a couple of track power bracket orders that I gotta ship out and finish tonight, which hopefully by the time you see this video tomorrow, today's Wednesday, so by the time the video comes out tomorrow, the orders should already be out to you guys. But thank you so much for putting in all those orders. I really appreciate you guys. But anyways, let's go back to the task at hand. I've kind of decided to change a couple of things on the design. I was gonna go with this hole right here, but I noticed after putting everything together that this is a little bit it's actually way too far in. So I'm gonna choose something like probably like that bolt that's further out, these two bolts that are further out. I think that'll work a lot better. It'll basically give the bracket more leverage and a bigger footprint on the frame, which I think is a lot better than something small like this. So I think we are gonna go with that. And another thing that I really wanna figure out is so I was basically testing this on my press brake, and what I'm trying to do is precisely be able to control, how can I explain this? Basically the bend in a way that I can bend more on this side than on that side. And basically I want to do that because if I say that I make this bend and that bend tighter than these two bends, that will actually make like the front of the bracket tilt outwards a little bit. Now the reason why I want to do that is because the arms don't sit perfectly square. They actually tilt in a little bit. They have a little bit of an angle to them. So I want to be able to kind of duplicate that with my brackets so that everything lines up like it should. I don't think you can see that with these ones because I believe that the actual frame on the 05 Plus kind of flares out where these things mount, so they kind of mount out at an angle. But when you mount them in your OBS, other than they mount way too far in, they're also, they also have that kind of angle to them. And you can actually see in my radius arm and my drop rocket where they actually make contact and definitely bind up a little bit. So like I said, that's one of the things that I want to make sure that I get right with my radius arm brackets. So like I said, it kind of sucks that I didn't have a full design yet, but there's just things that I want to make sure that are right. And I'd rather take my time, and I know you guys are going to appreciate too if I take my time and I design this thing correctly. So kind of talking about that too, another thing that I'm going to change, I guess the longer that I've been looking at these things, again, I still love the way they look. I'm not actually going to change the way they look, at least not a lot. But basically what I'm going to do is actually move them this way enough to where the spring basically sits straight up and down. Now that's gonna do, well, two things. One, again, it's gonna have the spring sit straight up and down, but also kind of where I have it right now, it's actually hitting on the part of the frame that flares out. So the frames on these trucks, if you guys don't know, they're not like completely straight. They actually kind of like have a few bends in them, so they kind of like flare out and do certain things kind of like there. See how it kind of flares out and it goes in and it goes back out. It does that through a few parts down the frame, and this is one of them. So basically from like about here to somewhere around right there, it's pretty flat, but around here it starts flaring out. Hopefully you guys can see what I mean, but see that right there starts flaring out. And as you can see, because my bracket hits right here, it's not letting the bucket actually sit completely flush on there. And it's not really pinching the brake line, but it's closer to it than I would like it to be. So I think that to fix those two things, I'm gonna move this thing further this way, which, like, again, it's gonna have the spring sit completely straight up and down, which I also think is gonna help it look a lot better, at least in my opinion. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm gonna work on for the next update. Well, I guess not the next update, but before I actually release them. And I actually noticed this the other day because I kind of saw that it wasn't sitting completely square, and when I was messing with the radius arms, I looked at this a little bit better and I noticed what I showed you guys, that it was hitting right here and it wasn't letting it sit completely square. Also, like I said previously, I've been driving this truck a little bit more often now. This truck for the most part was my daily driver. I'm actually trying to get rid of that car. The Maxima used to be my daily driver. And that's because I used to work out of town. I had like a 40-45 minute commute, so I used to use that for my commute. But now that I don't have that job anymore, I usually drive the single cab as my daily. And now that that thing's getting worked on, I've been driving this a lot, and I gotta say, guys, I really like this truck. I love the way that it drives. It is so freaking smooth, and that 460 actually is really peppy. It has some get up and go to it. So that is really cool. I really like this truck, and I really can't wait to start the build on it. The only problem that I'm having with it is space. That truck just doesn't fit in this garage, like not even close. The single cab right now is pretty much almost backed up all the way up to my garage, and then this is all the space that I have in front of it, so there's no way you can fit a full crew cab long bed in here, which really sucks. And I was planning on getting a shop. Like, I had already found one, I liked it, everything, and I actually saw the day that the person put the ad up for the shop, and I immediately called them. I texted them, and I called and texted that person every day for like over a week, and they never got back to me. They eventually did get back to me, like over a week later, saying they had already leased it out and all this. It was, I don't know why. It's complete BS to me, because they reposted, I guess, the listing, but they asked for a few $100s more than when they had first listed it. So then I contacted them again. I was like, hey, I'm still interested. I know that you just increased the price, but it's okay. I'm willing to pay the extra money. I just need a shop. And I guess they just didn't want to rent it to me for whatever reason. They didn't even let me fill out an application, which I think is so BS. But regardless, I think we're gonna stick it in here for the rest of the year. We're gonna finish the complete kit, get those things going, see how the company is doing once we have the whole kit, and if it keeps going the way that it is, we'll for sure find another shop, something nice, something even bigger and nicer than the one I was trying to get. Hopefully by then a few more pop up. So once we have the space to actually properly work on this thing, because I don't want to be working on the driveway. You know, it's got a slant to it. The HOA would hate me, especially because I would have to bring my parts truck here, and unfortunately the full build of that truck is probably not going to start until next year, which it sucks. But like I said, it is what it is. We'll wait, and we're really gonna build that thing really nice, really cool, and I'm super excited for it. But again, we're gonna have to wait a little bit, unfortunately, which I'm really sorry, guys. I know that you guys really like that truck and we're really excited for it, but trust me, once we really get going on it, it's gonna be freaking nice. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not gonna work on it. I definitely have a lot of projects that I want to work on that thing. For one, I want to fix the fenders on that thing. I want to learn how to do some fiberglass and stuff like that, so we're gonna be doing a lot of that stuff, fixing them, probably tow mirrors, stuff like that. That way, once we get the whole swap done, you know, that'll be it. We won't have to do anything else to it other than maybe painting it. But yeah, super excited about that, guys. Again, sorry that we can't get started on it as soon as I was hoping that we would, but you know, it is what it is. Like I said, we'll find something better eventually. But for now, I am blessed to have this space. But it's nice in here, and I'm home, so I can't complain. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching, for leaving a like, leaving a comment. All that stuff really helps us. We'll see you on Sunday, I think. Drop down any comments down below on things that you want me to talk about on Sunday. Again, if you guys don't know, on Sundays I'm trying to drop an extra video, something short, between 8 and 10 minutes, even shorter, just talking about, you know, certain topics on OBS trucks and either my parts or just anything else that you want me to talk about. So definitely drop down suggestions down below. I would love to hear what you guys want me to talk about. So anyways, again, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.